Oh, really? Heather, our chair is just getting coffee. We'll be with you in a second.
I was hoping it would.
Okay.
Well, now it's gone.
It's
On it, I thought it might.
All right, Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Yeah, we didn't have the time.
I would.
So we will call this meeting to order. We'd like to go around the table and everybody introduce themselves.
Cheers. There's one over here, Larry.
We can start over here.
We can.
Amy Hans, Schenectady County Engineering.
I live Simon, Schenectady County.
Stiglio, CDRPC.
Jim Shaughnessy, Rensselaer County.
Charlie Davidson, Schenectady County.
Craig Warner, Saratoga County.
Joe Grasso from Saratoga.
Larry Schillinger, Albany County.
Eric Hughes, Schenectady County.
Bill Bruce, Albany County.
Agatha Reed, Saratoga County.
We can't start.
Everybody good.
Carolyn McLaughlin, Albany County.
Michael Stamble, Rensselaer County.
Judy Bressler, Rensselaer County.
Amy Weinstock, CDRPC.
Jasmine Higgins, Albany County.
Jacqueline Stallone, I'm Rensselaer County. We have the staff over there.
Madison Marisco, GIS analyst.
Kate Maynard, Economic Development.
Josh Turnoff, Sustainability.
Haley Falconer, Sustainability.
Scott Bosey. And we have a couple people online.
Opal High,
Jason Kemper,
Saratoga
Saratoga.
County. Go ahead.
Jason Kemper, Saratoga County.
Kristen
Opal
Swinton,
Hines.
Albany County.
Opal Hines, Saratoga County.
And we have Heather Lewis, who's from MMB and Co. She will be doing our audit presentation momentarily.
Welcome, Heather. Okay, the first item on our agenda is the 2024 audit presentation. And I'll turn that over to Mark.
Sure. Heather, do you want me to share your presentation or do you want to drive?
I can go ahead and share it. Okay. Everyone can see that? Thumbs up.
All right, here we go. Now
There we go. Excellent. Okay, so this is the audit report for CDRPC as of December 31st, 2024. So we're just doing it in presentation format because that's a little bit easier for this type of presentation. So let's you know that we've audited the financial statements of the commission, that we are responsible for using professional judgment, forming and expressing our opinion on the financial statements, obtaining reasonable but not absolute assurance, considering your internal controls as part of that process, and then communicating any significant matters to you. We performed our audit consistent with the planned scope and timing. We're independent of CDRPC. Management reviews and accepts responsibility for the financial statements, identifies any contracts that meet the criteria to be recorded as a lease, and reviews all of that information before we issue the financial statements. And that's a key component, that you have somebody there at CDRPC that can review and accept responsibility for those financials and that lease adjustment. As far as significant risks, so there are risks within the organization just for the sheer fact that you exist as an entity. There's nothing that you are doing wrong or need to change. They are just risks that are out there that you should be aware of and that we plan our audit to address. They are management override of internal controls, revenue recognition, and those two are always presumptively mandatory risks at an organization, so they're always assumed to be risks. And then specifically for you guys, it's compliance with contracts. Just because of the number of contracts that you have, we believe that that's a significant risk as well. You did have accounting policies are included in note 2, and you did have a new standard related to compensated absences that you had to implement. For you guys, really did not have that much of an impact. It just changed some specifics of the calculation itself, but for your organization, there was not a big impact. You do have estimates in your financial statements. Your most significant estimate is your participation in the New York State Employees Retirement System. So they have an actuary that does the calculation and provides you with the information, but because of that actuarial calculation, a lot of estimates within that number. Additionally, we had no significant difficulties in performing our audit, no uncorrected or corrected misstatements, no disagreements with management. Management provided us with a representation letter, and there were no other consultations that we are aware of. As far as our actual report on the audited financial statements, this lets you know that we've audited your governmental activities in each major fund as of 12/31/24. And in our opinion, the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that's that clean opinion, highest level of assurance that we can provide. As the basis for our opinion, we have to follow generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. We have to be independent, we have to meet our ethical responsibilities, and then we have to obtain sufficient information to provide a basis for our opinion, which we believe we did. We also highlight again that you did implement that new standard, so that's just required to be brought to your attention again. Management is responsible for preparing the financial statements, having a good system of internal controls in place. My responsibility is to obtain reasonable assurance that your financial statements are free from any material misstatement. So that means we exercise professional judgment. So we ask a lot of questions. We want to see documentation. We assess the risk of material misstatement and design our audit to address those risks, get that understanding of internal controls, and evaluate your policies and estimates to make sure they are reasonable and as we would expect them to be. So that is our financial statement audit. And then because we have to follow government auditing standards, there's this additional report on internal control over financial reporting. So this lets you know that we do consider, again, your internal controls as a basis for designing our audit procedures and expressing our opinion. We're required to report any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we encounter. We do not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report. We also have to consider your compliance with any material laws and regulations. So we perform tests of compliance with those provisions in the contracts and things. And then again, if we had any material non-compliance, we're required to report that to you. happy to say we did not have any material non-compliance to report either. So that is a very, very clean opinion. The last slide is just my information. So are there any questions on the financials?
Not at this time, huh?
Well, I guess silence is a ringing endorsement, Heather. I appreciate you being flexible to be able to give this presentation today. I'd like to also thank Amy and Tom from our team that manages the finances and the staff who does a lot of paperwork to support that. And David Hokenkamp for his oversight when he was treasurer back in 2004. And not 2004, 2024. So. Well, here are no questions. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
We have one question.
Yeah, we had some things that weren't carried over, we had accounts that were being carried over, debits that were being carried over from the last audit that we didn't catch it till last year.
That was for
Have they all been corrected now?
CDYCI, that was.
Oh, that was CDRPC.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, there being no further questions, we can move on to the approval of the October 15th meeting minutes.
Actually, we need to take a vote to approve the audit.
Pardon me?
We need to take a vote to accept the audit.
Well, I was just gonna, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So.
Who said that, Gary?
Second.
Approved.
Aye.
Thanks, Heather.
Now we can move on to the October 15th meeting minutes. Do you have any questions on the minutes?
Don't move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we move on to the financial statements through November 30th. I'll turn that over to Mark.
Sure. So through November 30th, we're tracking at 87% to budget on the revenue line and 82% on the expenses line. Tracking slightly under par, and that's mainly due to the fact that we haven't incurred all the expenses for the year yet. And we also have not sent bills for our Q4 work, which we will do in January. On the balance sheet, we have just over 320,000 in the bank. And outstanding receivables of just over 300,000, the majority of which are from New York State agencies. We're tracking to have an operating surplus in 2025. However, as we just discussed briefly in the audit, that actuarial calculation of our obligation to the New York State Retirement Fund often diminishes that final total. So like it happened this year, we actually went from a surplus. That non-cash expense of the obligation to the insurance fund reduced our contribution to the fund balance and was actually negative because of that non-cash expense. So that could happen again this year, but so we'll have to see what that calculation looks like once we do the audit for 2025. Any other questions?
I just had a quick question about the revenue side. Saw that some of the grants like Climate Smart, the broadband was about 50%, while the EPA CDRG was under 54%. Can you just
Sure.
numbers?
So we were in between contracts for Climate Smart for a while this year. And Todd also on the front load of the work and activity on the EPA grant. So we overspent on the EPA grant, knowing that we were underspending on the climate grant. It evens out, the overspend equals the underspend basically in those two lines, but it was really a function of how we wanted to roll out the EPA work on this calendar year.
Perfect, thank you.
So it's a multi-year grant, you just.
Any other questions? Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. So next we have the report from the nominating committee on, next year's board members.
So the nominating committee returned a slate of officers. All those existing officers have agreed to move up to the next spot. And Mike Stammel has agreed to return to the executive board as secretary treasurer for next year. The complicating factor for this is that both Saratoga County and Rensselaer County commissioner appointments are expiring at the end of this year. So in circumstances like this, we usually wait till the counties have their organizational meetings at the beginning of the calendar year and then take action at our first meeting of the calendar year. So while we have a slate, I recommend not voting on the slate until the counties make their official appointments.
Okay, anybody have any questions about that? Any further concern? So we'll postpone that until next month then.
I'm back in if you change your mind.
I already talked to Kelly about it, we're all set.
Oh, good.
Great.
Okay, and then there's the all important next year's schedule for
So
our meetings, so has everybody had a chance to look that over?
simply the reason why we have to vote on this is because the bylaws and county agreement says this organization meets monthly. But once we take a vote on it, we can change that's.
Okay, so anybody got any
I'll make
questions?
that motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, so once we get past that, now we need to go into executive session to discuss some of the salaries and promotions and whatnot for next year.
Personnel issues.
No,
So moved.
Hold on. Sorry.
So for those online, I'm going to put you in a breakout room and that's how you'll be able to participate.
Okay. Larry, show me the second for this. What's it, 2016? Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess we had a good discussion there.
Oh, if you don't mind, just.
You want these back?
Well, just.
Yeah, I'm
Face down.
putting it face down and bringing it home.
Okay.
I'll fold it in half so it doesn't get mixed up.
I got one here. There we go.
Nice shredded. Yeah, I was gonna say shredded.
Well, face that.
Okay, so now we can move on to the proposed budget.
I think
Okay.
we have to wait until Amy comes back to take
Oh, yes.
minutes.
Is she right out there?
Mhm. So I'll start talking. The good thing now with AI is that this thing takes notes for you. Have you ever seen it spit out
I did.
notes from?
I went to a meeting and I did not take notes, and all of a sudden it did a recap of everything I was in.
Yeah.
And it showed note taker here for me. I'm not doing anything.
Very
I turned my phone off so that it wouldn't take notes here.
Well, it's very handy for note taking. It actually also summarizes who said they were gonna do what.
Uh-huh.
And for like meeting stuff and follow-up, it's tremendous. Anyway.
Okay, who made a motion to leave it?
Gary and I second.
Thank you.
All right, so the overall 2026 budget is 0.5% decrease versus the 25 budget. We talked about asking for an additional 3% from the counties in aggregate, which we've done. My examination of the county's proposed budgets shows that every county included that increased requested amount. In 2024, every county dollar was leveraged by $5.8 in other revenue. On the revenue side of the budget, our NICLAS amount is reduced because interest rates are going down. Contractual services includes anticipated work for 9 school loan projections and anticipated revenues for doing economic impact analyses for Empire State University and the Port of Albany. The foreign trade zone revenue line increases in 25 to reflect additional fees that will accrue to CDRPC, a zone operator with 2 additional users that we anticipate coming online in 2026. CDRPC workshops, we're budgeting 12,000. It's slightly less than 2025 actual, but reflects reasonable expectations now that we have a solid, I think, bench of sponsors that come in every year to do that. NYSERDA, the contract is good through March 31st, 2021. And as I mentioned, Todd and Tara are working with the NYSERDA team to develop the next iteration of the grant, which obviously bodes well for CDRPC as an applicant. The new Climate Smart Communities contract was issued in March 25, and that's good. That takes us through 2028. So that's again, state funds, stable, reliable, same thing with the NYSERDA funds. The CSO program, like I said, we have a grant that covers 90% of the cost to the CSO communities for our hourly services. That's Tom's time, my time, Amy's time. But regardless, the CSO communities are responsible to pay any administrative fees that CDRPC charges the corporation. So it does not come from CDRPC. It's not a CDRPC expense, really. EDA, our contract match requirement is going to change when our new contract year starts on July 1st. It'll move from a 50-50 match requirement to a 60-40 match requirement in favor of CDRPC, so we'll have less to match. And so that net change is just $7,000 in additional revenue. Water quality planning program, again, this is a multi-year contract, takes us through 2029. Our grant allocation for 25-26, and this grant year straddles calendar years, is $104,000. And that program only requires a 5% match. It was previously 10%, so it's still an advantage, and that salary line pays for some of Jaslene's costs, our environmental planner. UPWP, a couple years ago, we signed a new 10-year contract with the DOT to pay for our services to the Transportation Council down the hall. Basically, the quick status quo in terms of the amount, we've been at $180,000 for a number of years, but we do have a productive relationship with them. And those funds pay for all of our work that we're doing with housing, a lot of our census data work and GIS work as well. The Northern Border Regional Commission, this is a new budget line this year. We executed a contract, three-way contract with the New York State Department of State and the Federal Northern Border Regional Commission for us to provide similar services that we do for the federal EDA, in that we do project identification, project development support, and support with grant administration. Previously, we were only eligible to receive funding as a component of administering somebody's grant. But now we have program funding, and this, I'm seeing this $100,000 as sort of a hedge if anything happens to other funding related to the final federal budget that we would see. Because I can easily transition staff to charging on that line. But I'm being conservative in terms of, I'm not gonna bring somebody new on because I don't wanna obviously hire somebody and then have to let them go if things should change. So I'm keeping that as kind of a placeholder, and Kate and myself are working sort of part-time on it, but I would not anticipate for us to spend down that entire $100,000 this year. Unless things at the federal level appear to be stable and we decide to bring somebody new on, but I'm not anticipating that that's gonna be happening. On the expense side, salaries, full-time professional staff at 9, and 2 part-time employees. Office equipment is basically the same as it was in previous years. The workshop line has increased slightly because we have increased expenses, catering expenses in particular. Consulting services, most of the things that we charge in the consulting services line are directly reimbursable, with the exception of our audit and our attorneys. However, all those expenses get added to our calculation for indirect expenses. So while they might not be while they are a direct expense to CDRPC, we're able to recoup those costs when we charge indirect expenses to our granting agencies. Computer supplies and software, our GIS subscriptions reimbursable through the Transportation Council down the hall. Our our Tableau software subscription and Implan software subscription may be reimbursable through either NBRC or EDA. Our Implan subscription is basically subsidized by our fee for service that people pay us to do economic impact analyses. And the computer supplies and software also includes the whole host of software programs, Canva, MailChimp, Microsoft Office. Rent has increased slightly due to anticipated increased energy costs. Travel increased slightly to reflect current trends in our staff members' travel. Workers' comp and disability the decrease is based on the 2025 actuals. Unemployment insurance, the increased assessments that happened after the pandemic appear to be waning, but we're still keeping that number up a little bit. The health insurance costs are based on the actual, it should say 2026 NISHIP rates and staff participation. It's the actual number and calculation of what it's going to cost us to provide health insurance for those employees. There was an increase, but again, that increase in health insurance costs gets charged to our granting agencies through our fringe rate. So based on the budget for 2026, we anticipate, I'm proposing a balanced budget for 2026, and at the close of 2024, we had a fund balance of just over $704,000. So we're in a healthy cash position. Standard should be that you maintain 25% of your operating budget and reserve, and you're closer to 50%. So that's a good standard. Any questions on the budget?
I have one question that maybe isn't directly related to in some ways the budget, is what the impact of rolling out in the exploration of AI is going to do for computer expenses and data collection and that kind of thing.
I can give you one example of how it saved time and money. So when I got hired almost 10 years ago, nobody told me that we had to file annual financial reports with the New York State Comptroller's Office. Nor does the controller's office notify you that you have to file them. But I heard from the chief finance guy in Albany County, because the controller was using us as a bad example of people who are delinquent in filing. So I don't know if you've ever done these filings, but they're all online. And basically you need your audited financial statements, and then you need to translate your, your budget codes or accounting codes into what the comptroller's office uses. So I had 10 years of filing, and I'm not an accountant, and my accountant was busy getting money from our granting agencies. So I tried to figure it out. So I took the 2014, the last AFR that was filed, and then our last audited financial statement, and I asked AI to learn how the numbers go from our audit into this AFR. And then it created for me a 5-tab spreadsheet with all the reportable categories. And then I just uploaded PDFs of the other financial reports, and it did the same thing for the other year. So what would have taken potentially weeks and weeks of work took about 5 hours. So I got almost 10 years of filing done using AI. So for me, it was tremendously helpful and saved a lot of time and effort. But the concerns with AI is that it's very energy intensive
Right.
and water intensive.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of competing interests for energy now in the grid. And, our climate action plan, takes an all the above approach. And I think we're seeing now at the state level, the governor is also realizing that an all of the above approach is needed as well to make sure we're meeting the needs of our energy grid, particularly in the context of AI and renewables.
So, yes.
Wow.
So this is more or less new territory, and it's hard to anticipate the total impact that.
Well, I mean, if you're going by the stock market, there's gonna be a tremendous impact. And everyone's, making money, but there's also a question of whether we're in an AI bubble. And
Right.
I would say it's too soon to know,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we have to let time show us what happens. The stock market isn't a good indicator, right? Because that's speculative.
Right.
AI, even the reports that you did for 10 years, you have to go through those line by line because they make up stuff too.
Yep, they do.
So it's too soon to know. So I would say, let's see what happens over the next couple of 5 years.
But it's never too soon to anticipate.
Right, I agree with that, yes. And I also use AI a lot,
Mhm.
but I have to scrutinize whatever it tells me because it will
Uh-huh.
definitely make up stuff.
Yep, but you gotta keep human in the loop. So, as a related note, we did record a session at our last workshop at Hudson Valley Community College on AI and planning, or how I stopped worrying and learned to love AI.
Maybe.
So there's a good example of folks in Clifton Park using AI tools for permitting applications, all that stuff. And we had a guy down from Kingston, who has a company that does this kind of thing for municipal governments. Develops AI platforms. So it's on our website. Check it out. We're on our YouTube channel. Any other questions on our budget?
If not, then we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's really fast, the proposed budget. Next on the agenda is we have this 2025 weekend.
Yep, I'll just bring this up quickly. Where, I assume. All right, can people online see this?
Oh, yep,
Yes.
just came up.
Okay, you don't see presenter mode, do you?
No,
No.
Okay. So just to reorient you, we did a strategic plan, back in 2016. And these are the major sort of focus areas of, or strategic initiatives, communication and outreach, enhancing CDRPC's role in the region, regional growth and development, and financial stability. And I believe we're hitting on all of those things. We had a big year for outreach and training. We hosted almost 200 people at our annual training workshop. We did 35 targeted email blasts, 34% open rate on those. We've done 29 news posts. We issued 4 newsletters, 4 data news newsletters. We've done 16 data news posts. And we increased social media engagement 10% year over year in 2025. We completed 3 technical assistance projects in 2025. The first is the City of Saratoga Springs build-out analysis. Recently, we completed a preliminary curbside EV charging siting analysis for the city of Albany. That takes a look at potential locations to install curbside EV chargers. And you can see that map there of the city of Albany. And we also completed a regional reuse center feasibility study on behalf of the town of Bethlehem. And what are they called? Sustainable?
Capital District reuse.
Yes, Capital District reuse. GIS and data services, we were also very busy this year. There is a host of reports that you've probably seen on our website. I'm gonna read my notes. GIS and data portal was created as a complement to the climate action plan. We updated the Capital Region greenhouse gas inventory. We created a dashboard that allows for comparison over time. We updated the housing affordability analysis. We examined missing middle housing and associated trends. We took a look at area median income and how it's continuing to grow in our region. Overall growth in the capital region. We took a look at older adults in the capital region, where they're living, what their living situation is, what their future needs will be. We completed a complete street story map for the folks down the hall. We took a look at the decline of farming in the capital district. We took a look at migration patterns, population projections, age cohort projections. We took a look at the foreign-born population. And we completed a land use land cover analysis this year. Our data and GIS person, Madison Harisco, was quite busy this year with all these things. So thank you to Maddie. And her good work is on our website and available to everyone. In addition, we did some specific work that focused on our assistance to folks down the hall. And these include continuing with developing employment projections that will inform their transportation travel demand model that they use when the DOT closes the bridge. Their model tells you where traffic is going to go. And so they need information on projections of employment, and we worked on that as well. Clean Energy Communities Program. Since 2024, our staff has helped municipalities in the 4 counties get over $5.2 million in match-free grants for clean energy projects. Tremendous success for that project, for that program, and tremendous success for the staff. Similarly, our Climate Smart Communities program, just over $2 million in grants have been awarded to communities in our region, and more than $1 million in zero emission vehicle grants. And those are match-free grants to communities within the 4 counties have been awarded under this program. 28 communities have achieved bronze certification in our area, and 5 communities have received silver certification with the assistance of our outreach coordination team. Last meeting in October, we passed and adopted our comprehensive climate action plan. This plan was the result of a $1 million award that was secured by CDRPC and under the leadership of Todd Flozy. We completed the CCAP. It might be the first comprehensive climate action plan completed in the nation. We certainly were the first one completed in New York State. And we anticipate our outreach team continuing to assist with the implementation as communities do their own climate action planning using our plan as a model and a resource. For our CSO Pool Communities Corporation, the biggest thing to happen this year was the ribbon cutting for the $65 million Beaver Creek Clean River Project located in Lincoln Park in the city of Albany. This one project is potentially the most significant environmental project that has occurred to improve water quality in the Hudson River in the past 50 years. It has the ability to filter and treat 264 million gallons of combined sewage every year. And it has the ability to filter out what are called floatables. I won't give the details about what those are.
So better, well, know what they are.
Yes. So that's just a picture of the ribbon cutting and then the inside. 604B program, we rekindled the effort to engage the city of Watervliet and the town of Guilderland, in addition to the town of Rotterdam and other towns and municipalities in the watershed that serves the Watervliet Reservoir. And we're getting close to completing the, it's called DWSP2, Drinking Water Source Water Protection Plan for the reservoir. In 2026, we'll be proceeding with a similar protection plan for the Tomahannock Reservoir, funded through our 604B program. Economic development, it's been a busy year. We brought on board GE Vernova with the assistance of Schenectady County and Jupiter Bach to participate in the Foreign Trade Zone program. We participated in and supported a statewide foreign trade zones webinar to encourage private businesses to activate foreign trade zones to assist their businesses. For some reason, foreign trade zones and tariffs were big news in 2025. And that really generated interest in that program. Again, we have program funding down for our Northern Border Regional Commission program, and that also provides grants, including a grant to Glenville that was awarded back in 2022 for sewer line replacement. But it also funds a lot of different things, including they have a timber for transit program. So if you have a trail, need a bridge, it's made out of wood, you can get money through those programs, which is a good thing. Through our efforts over the course of several years, we were able to do an address verification process to support New York State's BEAD program for the deployment of broadband. We went over this map at our last meeting, but again, our work underpinned the awarding of $13 million for broadband build out in the 4 counties in the Capital District. And you can see the breakdown of awards by county there. And then in my side gig, the Capital District Youth Center, we rededicated the facility on June 5th, 2025, after more than $25 million renovation project. And while we do have some issues that are being addressed in the facility related to the construction, we transformed the facility, brought it up to modern code standards, modern operational standards, modern education standards, expanded the capacity from 24 to 39 beds, increased the recreational space by more than double, and really proud of the work that was done out at the facility. Great job. But it all doesn't happen without our tremendously talented team, who are all experts in their fields and are relied on as trusted advisor and counsel to the variety of municipalities and organizations that we work with to help the communities and the counties that we serve. So join me in thanking the staff for their great. All right, that's all I have.
Mark, might jump in.
Just one quick question on the youth detention center. Unless I missed it, we were gonna meet there and it got canceled.
Yes,
Is that on the radar screen for next year?
it's on the radar screen. It got I don't want to get into too much detail. But when we were going to have it, there was an issue with the parking lot. And there's also a chronic issue with the parking lot in that since there's so many more staff there now, the parking lot tends to be full. So there needs to be some coordination with where the staff are parking if we choose to meet there. And the last time we chose to meet there or wanted to meet there, they were in the midst of union negotiations. So they didn't feel it was a good idea to piss off the workforce by making them park elsewhere to accommodate our meeting. But that's all water under the bridge, so we'll look to have a meeting there in 26.
Good weather.
Mhm.
Mark, it's a fantastic presentation and really impressive, you and the staff. Not just the quantity, the quality of the work that's produced. Do you think we could use AI and your own intellect to boil down this presentation to what could be an op-ed article in local newspaper, namely the Times Union, just to create a little more impact and, presentation to the larger community?
Yeah, I can definitely try to do something like that. I don't know that I would trust AI to do that.
Well, no, but you can do the first crack.
Yeah.
Or like we have the program now that's gonna take these, summary of what you just said
Mhm.
in the meeting notes?
Yeah, that could work as well.
And then, and just build from that, but I think that would be tremendously valuable.
In all honesty, I did try to have AI read all of our newsletters and make this PowerPoint presentation, failed miserably.
Okay,
So I had to do it the old fashioned way.
No, AI doesn't have a journalism degree. What do you?
well, whether you use AI or not, I think it'd be great.
Would be good. Would be
We
good.
always gotta tell our story, always gotta
Yeah, and I
communicate
think
what
that
we've
would-
done for you lately.
Yeah, I really think it'd be.
Stories,
It would be nice if that could not only go to the Times Union, which most of the people I know don't read, but we have a local paper that's a subscription paper that to me would be great for my community where I live, because they're not aware of most of the opportunities. And then they don't press our local government to take advantage, you know, so that's what I would see as a benefit to.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to include in the presentation, I thought about, but then forgot about, was the number of times that the Regional Planning Commission appeared in TV and print media in the past year. Because we are referenced, as it relates to the awards for clean energy and climate smart, we are referenced when people use our data. We are referenced, you know, a lot of times that you may not see.
business reviewing.
Mhm.
This would be a hefty insert in any of those papers. So we'd be paying for that, I assume. To, you know.
If we
for
do,
the
it,
various-
I can put out some feelers to the reporters I know and see if there's, what they can recommend to me.
I'm thinking like an op-ed piece.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking like a 5-page insert to various.
Oh, well, I
papers.
don't know, that's another way to do
If you get too long, people don't pay attention though. You gotta remember everybody's attention span is
Well, yeah,
right now, it's not 5 pages, you know. it's
that's
usually
true,
2.
but I'm thinking there's so much
There is.
to just say, here you go, here's a
Yeah.
insert, you know, it's pages of what this organization. is.
Multiples.
Yeah, well,
it.
yeah,
Although that would be good for every county legislator.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we do our pretty annual report
Say
every
they
year.
get the-
So
That's
this
true.
is the first step in our annual report is putting this thing together and then it gets more detailed and polished and then it winds up as our annual report.
Yeah, I mean, what would be also, and we worked on this in the past, is to take that presentation you just did and do it as a roadshow to each county legislature, if there would be people like Gary would say, okay.
Come on over.
I was tremendously honored that I received 5 minutes instead of the traditional 3 at the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors meeting.
5 minutes.
Joe can take care of that.
That people didn't think that was gonna happen, but they made it happen.
You can barely clear your throat 5 minutes, you know?
Power of the gavel.
Because I looked at, I mean, based on some of the things that you just showed and you said they're on the website, but I don't know how often my county legislators visit the website to see the valuable information is there. So there were 2 reports there
5.8,
on aging
Five.
and for the housing affordability
Mhm.
that
4.1.
are very hot topics in Albany County. And I would love to have someone to directly, I mean, to point them directly to these reports. Instead of, citing places all over other parts of the country,
Mhm.
you got reports right here.
Do you think I should send them to Nicole for distribution to the
Yeah.
legislature?
I would appreciate that.
I share a lot of it. Because I tend to see it and then I just.
Well, that's an important role of our commissioners, spread the good news.
Especially the data and.
Yeah, I share the housing stuff.
Yeah.
I know who shares because I look at our MailChimp
Yeah.
and the number of opens next to your name, so. If I don't see more than 5, then you're not sharing.
Okay, any further discussion on our presentation other than it represents a lot of work and you guys really put it in, I'll tell you. It's amazing. So if there's any other discussion, are we ready to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everyone.